It's a little trick of the trade. Ready?
Yep.
All right, let's make history. Take two. Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Thank you, Wings theme song. Welcome to Couch Pilots, the show that dares to fly into unknown territory of awful television pilots from the past. My name is Jason, a.k.a. the Bottle Cap Kid. Yeah, I'm going to say them all. A.k.a. Flannel Fabio, a.k.a. Little Cocoa Bean. And with me is my good buddy and easy lover, the podcasting god, amen, Blake Clayton. Blake, how are you?
I'm great. This is exciting. We didn't get canceled after our pilot episode.
You were in such a bad mood earlier, and look, you've done
all about queso dip. My life was it was summed up in one thing, and it was queso dip. I have a bunch of stuff going on in my life right now that are really bad. It all just set off with lack of queso dip.
Sometimes it is just a little jar of Old El Paso that'll just push you over the edge, isn't it?
Tostitos.
Oh, okay. Give the man some queso dip, won't you? If you please hit the donate button on the website. Donate a bottle of queso dip. What are we doing here? This is a show where we talk about crappy television pilots, and that's what we're going to do.
I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
It's
been a long time watching this, so I can't wait to talk about it.
This is completely purge it and have some closure here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
Pretty good intro.
I love it.
Pretty good stuff. This is boarding. We're boarding the episode right now. We're getting ready to tell you what the show's about. What are we going to do?
We're going to talk about the show.
Which one?
Baffled! Exclamation point.
Well-deserved! Exclamation point.
Featuring Leonard Nimoy as...
He oddly enough, plays Spock in this. No, he plays Tom Kovac.
Tom Kovac, the famous open-wheel race car driver.
Oh, yeah, that was... We'll get into that. So as I mentioned in the beginning, Couch Pilots is a show about odd television pilots or like the first episode of the television series. And every year there's something called pilot season where many new television shows are proposed. Far fewer are actually made into a single episode to see how it tests, and far fewer still make it to the airwaves. So what happens to all those shows that didn't make the cut or the ones that were made but were never shown? That's where Blake and I come in. We are the boob tube hyenas coming in to pick up the scraps.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
That's good. Hey, I got a little thing about pilot season. I listen to a lot of podcasts other than the ones that we are on. And a lot of them are actors, comedian and actors.
Yeah.
And I heard Paul F. Tompkins tell a story once of how he got out of jury duty because he went and wrote a letter to the judge saying, hey, this is pilot season. I'm really busy testing, trying to get on all these pilots, and I don't have time to come, and he didn't have to.
Maybe if he got on a show that it could entertain people who are like, I'm so bored, I'm just going to go out and kill someone, he potentially could be saving lives by entertaining the masses.
Yes.
If I was a judge, I'd let Paul F. Tompkins go.
Yep, let him go.
What a talent he is. Do you have a man crush on him, you think?
A little bit.
It's the stash, isn't it?
No, it's the gap in the teeth.
For me, it's both. 50-50. Right down the middle. Okay, so yeah, what we're going to do is coming to pick up the scripts, going back to where I was reading. Okay, so what a waste to put so much time, effort, and talent into these programs and just toss them in the trash heap. So really what I think we're doing here, Blake, is we're recycling and reducing the carbon footprint of Hollywood.
Yeah, and think about all the money that was spent on these.
Oh, absolutely. The sets, the actors, everything, all the distribution.
This is season 1 of Couch Pilots, so we're dealing with shows from the 70s.
Right.
So they're going to make money indirectly by us talking about them.
First of all, we're making a lot of money.
Oh, I was counting the $100 bills earlier before you got here.
How high did you get?
-3.
You're in the hole.
Yep.
Everything is costing you. Well, it should be. You know, you got to bleed a little bit, right? You got to spend money to make money. Is that what they say?
Sure, I was going to say something inappropriate, so I'll take yours.
Yeah, take it off the poop chute. So as briefly mentioned, today we are discussing the 1973 program Baffled. Again, yes, with an exclamation point. You're absolutely right. And why shouldn't it have an exclamation point? There is a lot to be excited about here.
Action-packed.
So much. It really is. There's so much action. If you listened to the last episode, at the very end, you heard the trailer for this. And if you were, I apologize that we put the trailer out there, because sometimes you hear it and you're like, oh, I want to get right to it. I want to hear exactly what these fools have to say about this, but you got to wait a week. Sorry.
Right. Yep.
Got to wait that week.
Yep. Well, because we're giving you time to watch it and take notes too.
Yep.
2 or 3 pages is fine.
Yep. Absolutely. And we mentioned in the previous show, but I'll tell you right now too, you can find this show on YouTube. Just type in Baffled, Baffled. You don't have to put the exclamation point. YouTube doesn't care about that.
No, and we also put the links in the show notes
Yep.
from the previous episode.
So type in Baffled space 1973, and it'll bring up the whole show. It's chopped into 7 chunks, but just hit that autoplay. Hit the first one. Boom. You got yourself some Leonard Nimoy.
And if you want to push pause right now, go watch it and then unpause us. But just come back. Don't just watch
Don't
it
leave
and
us
go,
hanging.
this was gold. And
Right.
Because you found out about it because of us.
There's
Hear what we have to say about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of podcasts out there, but what people don't understand who don't do podcasts, every time someone hits play, you and I start talking. It's not recorded. We do this
We
live,
just sit
so
here.
if you pause, go watch Baffled, we have to wait until you come back to hit play again, and we have to be right here ready to roll for you. So if you're going to hit pause, we're going to start timing you. Please make it an hour and a half or less.
Right.
We have stuff to do, too.
Sure. And, there is a potential for some spoiler alert stuff.
Right.
And so if you want the excitement of, like, having sex with a girl for the first time,
Oh, my God.
push pause.
I'm thinking of all 2 of them right now.
2?
Yeah.
Wow, you're a stud.
2's double digits, right? I tell my friends double digits. All right.
If you count their toes.
If I count all their toes. Oh, the girls I've slept with. All right, let's dig into this show a little bit further here. Let's take off. Hoser.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
You hear that?
Oh, this is exciting.
That's an airplane. We're in an airplane right now. You and I are captains of an airplane.
There's 3 people on board.
Hey, we'll take them. We'll take them. Anywhere you want to go. We got enough fuel to get you around the world in 80 days. Take off. A summary of the pilot. Interesting facts. That's what we're going to do for you right now. So this came from Wikipedia. Baffled is a 1973 television movie intended as a pilot for a television series. The story is part of the occult detective subgenre, which sounds very niche, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's like this in one of their show, probably.
right, exactly. Like, Wikipedia is like, well, we need to have some kind of genre for this, and we'll make it up to 20 years after the fact.
There's probably a detective subgenre. There's probably an occult subgenre, but this is the occult detective subgenre. Race car driver Tom Kovac, played by our favorite Leonard Nimoy, suddenly begins to experience psychic visions. He meets Michelle Brent, an expert on the paranormal, and the two form an unlikely partnership. Kovac's visions draw them into an occult-themed mystery at a remote inn on the English coast. We both took a bunch of notes. We got to start digging. These notes, I'm not going to just throw them away. If you want to talk about reducing the carbon footprint, we got to use these notes. We got to squeeze every drop out of them.
Okay.
What do you got?
Well, I just went basically scene by scene of what happened. I'll just from the start. It starts out. Are we just how are you?
Yeah. Let's talk about
It
it.
starts out. He's in this race, and like for some reason, when they come in to take pit stops, he can just get out of the car.
It seems
take
wildly unorganized.
Take his helmet off.
Yeah.
Talk to the guy.
They're whispering in
They
this.
get back in. So it must have been one of those like 24-hour Tour de France things for a car. But real quick, what I noticed like right off the bat, we have to when we review these, we have to go back in the mindset of
Right.
technology in
I know
the
what you're gonna say
70s
here, yep.
because the green screen of these is it's obvious
It's pretty rough green screenage.
It's really rough green screen.
It may be the first green screen ever.
But I don't think they probably use someone on Star Trek. What do you think?
Maybe.
But for me, it was this was the first one we did. I had to really get used to putting myself back in that. And listeners need to remember, hey, when you're watching these, don't judge it on the cinematography.
We can mention it. We can say we have to be in that mindset. But you're absolutely right. I mean, this is no J.J. Abrams, Michael Bay, CG fest. This
Sure.
is they worked with what they had. It wasn't very good, but goddamn it, they did it.
But it starts out where to introduce that he has they're not flashbacks. They're like he just sees visions, and so he's driving on this
course,
and high speeds, and it's like for no reason just the screen goes to thing and then it goes away. You know what I mean? These visions are popping into his head, and at first it was like this isn't. But then he has this wreck that any other mortal man would wreck, and he would have a broken bone or something.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah.
It didn't look that, but that's something I wrote down. It says, "This is one you can walk away from." That's one of the lines, and I thought he just went through some of those bricks and just tapped a tree.
And then the next day he was on a TV show, being interviewed.
I'm sure he would be banged up a little bit, but it's like he walked away from this like he should have died. I was like, no, yeah, it's fine. He's fine. Something else I didn't like. I think later they attribute to the visions that you mentioned he had. It's kind of looks into the future. To him being in the wreck, but he was having them before the wreck.
That's
something they never really resolved.
Right, because that was what caught me off guard. I was like, okay, if he has a wreck and then can have these visions, that would be understandable. But he's having these visions that causes him to have the wreck.
And you look at Nimoy in this, and I don't know for sure, but if he's 40 years old plus at this point in his life.
Sure,
I think he died a year or two ago in his 80s, in his early 80s. So at this point, he's probably 40 to 45, somewhere in there. Why are you starting having visions at this point in your life?
Right, you should have had him on the Starship Enterprise.
That's right.
Or if Mission Impossible would have went a lot smoother.
He would have beat every Klingon if that was the case.
Right.
So I don't understand
it's
that.
It's the same haircut. It's the same haircut, same look, just doesn't have the uniform on or the ears.
And he's able to emote, where before I think he was very monotone, very stoic.
Oh yeah,
as Spock.
You could tell that he felt alive to do this.
He's thank God.
He's I've been doing this other, that is illogical, all that. Now he's hey, because he's hitting on the girls.
Oh, immediately.
He's a pimp in this.
He's
a Mac Daddy.
This woman's watching them on TV talking about these visions, and she's like, I think this guy's got the gift of the second sight or something.
Yeah.
And she's all into the occult. She goes over to his apartment, and I tell you what a dated apartment. Am I right? It's totally funky, orange leather sofa. He's got the quintessential perfect view of the skyline. Did you notice that?
Yeah. So, this is cut out.
Hitting on the broad immediately. Too.
Yeah. He's wanting to take her to dinner, and she's like, I can only stay for 15 minutes. And he's
no. She said 14 minutes. I noted that. She was there. She's like, I can only stay for. Why would you travel? She had a British accent. I assume she's from.
I think she was in town. She was in New York because she was in her hotel room watching him be interviewed.
If this is so important to you, clear out a schedule for more than 14 minutes. Or at least make it, like you said, 15 minutes. Right. People don't say intervals of 14, but she was she knew exactly when she had to be out of there. Funky soundtrack.
Definitely. Right? That 70s disco-y, funky, bam, chicka, bam, we're all getting it on with each other, free love. There's no such thing as AIDS yet.
As a hero of mine says, that's the best time to be alive. During Coke, pre-AIDS.
Yep.
What the best time to be alive?
Exactly. I loved it.
What else? You got anything good?
Oh, well, how far are we going to go into? Are we just talking about the actual show? We're not talking about the details of it yet, are we?
Oh, yeah, we're breaking it down.
Because one of the things that, this obviously didn't go onto series. And one of the reasons I think why is because, people knew Leonard Nimoy as Spock. And, he barely made it through probably on Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And it was now he's a race car driver and the ability to see things. I think that that was part of the problem was casting him. Not that he did a bad job, but you got to think about everybody had already saw him.
It's like Gilligan. He never worked again really unless he was playing Gilligan.
Right.
He was just typecast.
Yeah. So I think that probably caused one of the problems. I think that's why.
Let's talk more about the problems during the Turbulence section.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. Let's just go.
I'm new at this.
No, say me too. We're an hour or two here. But yeah, let's get more back into the plot here. Something I will mention: Leonard Nimoy. I'm so used to see him, like you said, typecast as Spock. When he is emoting and dressing casual and stylish for the times, weird looking guy. He's just kind of weird. But honestly, I kind of get it too. He's kind of handsome, but he's kind of weird looking.
Right.
I don't know how he gets
away
with it.
Like me and
you. Yeah. Yes. We are the modern day Leonard Nimoys. What else here?
Well, and going on, so he gets with this chick, and he describes the visions that he was seeing.
Yep.
She sees, she has him draw. She has him draw your vision of this castle, and it looked like a third grader drew it.
Yep.
And she's like, oh. And then she just flips to a book that she has. She's like, that's this castle right here.
Yep.
So
pretty convenient.
All of a sudden, she doesn't want to go spend the evening having dinner with them, but the next day they're flying to England.
Yeah, their priorities are out of whack. And I tell you, too, I think right before she went to visit him, she was like watching the TV, and the narration, there's a lot of people talking to themselves. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like fill the audience. And it's like, hey, guess what? We're not stupid.
Right.
We kind of get it. A wry glance or a look down at a book or something, we can put it together. We don't have to have everyone say exactly what they're thinking. You know what I mean?
And a lot of these pilot up, you got to get a lot of information in really, really quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's how you do that. One of the things about this one is there were so many characters that you had to pay attention.
Yeah. And another reason that they probably were setting it up for a series. There's a lot you can take out of that and put towards that maybe.
Sure.
So they get to London, like you mentioned, and they go for a car ride. And this is, I don't know if you remember, more bad green screen first.
Sure, yeah. She was driving.
She was driving, and like, for no reason, it didn't play into anything. There wasn't some sort of like evil occult car chase. It's just she was a bad driver.
She's just a bad driver in England.
He keeps freaking out, like,
whoa!
And when you cut back to after he says that, like, she's totally unfazed. Like she didn't even.
She's like, I do this all the time. I'm from here.
Everyone drives like they're like a 3-year-old driving a car where they keep moving their hands back and forth.
Right, like you have to, like the balance so far out of your car. You're constantly
shaking it back and forth. Just an unnecessary scene.
Sure,
but you know what shows up in the trailer. That scene. Yeah, because they want that hot action.
Yeah, like, oh, are they chasing somebody? Are they being chased?
This whole movie may have been reverse engineered based on an action based trailer. You know what I mean? Like they're like, let's make a killer trailer, and then we'll just fill in the blanks.
Well, in the beginning of the show, like the intro song and everything, they show everything that happens in this movie.
I will need to go back and check that out.
Yeah, oh no, everything that happens in this movie, every important scene is in this intro.
Well, it's okay. No, I think I do remember a little bit because it's like, to me, I felt like yet another way they're trying to make this a series. This would be like the intro to the show.
Right.
So, and again, it didn't work.
No,
didn't work. What do you got next?
For story plot, they go to this mansion. Because he sees the visions of a lady getting hurt or killed.
Yep.
And they go to this mansion, and all of a sudden, there's an overwhelming introduction of people.
Yep.
This is where you have to start paying attention, because everybody that's introduced, there's like eight or nine total people, characters of this. But if you don't pay attention, like there's a storyline for this one, there's a storyline for this group,
and this mansion is a hotel, and this is where the rest of the movie takes place.
Right. And it was very dark. Like that's like when they got there, it was like the typical like England huge mansion.
Yeah, Maryland mansion.
And it was very dark. It was there was a lot of shadows. There was a lot of dark corridors, and because it's it's supposed to be spooky or whatever. Right. This movie star lady is there with her daughter
Andrea, and her daughter is Jennifer.
Yeah, and one of the things is there's a conversation between these two on the way to the airport they have that's really inappropriate. The mother and the daughter are having a conversation about his father and their relationship.
This little girl has never seen her father. She's hoping to connect with him. They've been talking through a series of letters, and they're hoping to reconnect at this mansion. And is the thing you're going to say that she was hoping that their mom was going to get back with him?
Yeah, they're like, you think you're going to get back with Dad? And she's like, I don't know. The last few letters, were very meaningful. And I was like, shut up. That's
pretty inappropriate.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's so she and the woman too is like a movie star or something.
Yeah, she's pretty too.
She's a cute girl.
That was I give her 2 fucks up.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing that rating system.
I don't know.
I concur.
I'm just nervous.
So they have a storyline where they're going out there to meet the dad. The little girl's never met her dad, and then you got this woman who runs the place who's kind of weird. And then you've got an old woman in a wheelchair that they're trying to...
Because the old woman in the wheelchair is supposedly the aunt of the husband because he didn't show up. He didn't show up. And they go looking for him. And, as soon as they get to the manor, like he starts running into all these people. He sees all these people he had visions of. The little girl was the first one.
Right.
He's like, oh, that's the girl that he had a vision of. The dad and daughter... Oh, so then the next thing I have written down is like the dad and daughter, they meet out because he doesn't show up to the mansion when he's supposed to.
Yep.
And then supposedly like the dad and the daughter, they meet in this really dark like gazebo or woodshed or something. And that's when it starts to get like spooky.
Yeah, the dad they had never met before, so she didn't know what he looked like. So they met her, and he was trying like setting her up to do his bidding, almost. And like another motion to your all these characters, a lot of characters just pop up. Like all of a sudden, a scene will start, and these customers or these guests are here. Or these not guests, but the just the different characters will be popping up in different portions, and it doesn't make sense. No. It's like, how did they get there? Why are they? You feel like you're like, oh, I'm sorry, am I interrupting this scene? You know,
right? Exactly. You're right. There's a couple that comes in, and I like there's a couple, and his bang is really weird. His hairdo was really weird, but like you don't find out like they really had no relevance whatsoever.
I think there was just a lot of it was trying to, I think, a nod to murder mysteries.
Yeah,
even though no one
it was definitely
yet,
a whodunit.
It was kind of like let's put a little suspicion on everybody, and then we'll keep the people guessing. Yep. And we're going to keep you guessing until we come right back. We're going to play one of our promos, so sit tight, and we'll be right back here.
Step right up, step right up. Are you a fan of the macabre? Do you enjoy blood and guts? Does gore get you excited? Is getting scared your thing? Do you like horror movies? Boy oh boy, do we have the right show for you. S&M Radio is the best horror movie podcast on the web. Shannon and Mark discuss a different horror movie topic each episode. Some episodes are about specific horror movies. Some episodes are about folks involved with horror movies, while others are about top 10 lists of horror movie topics. All with great music from all genres. I should warn you right away, spoiler alert, those two yahoos pretty much give away everything every time. Come one, come all, down to S&M Radio, where nothing is too taboo.
Your good buddy.
Nothing's too taboo for Shannon and Mark.
If you have never heard that show, know that is the voice you hear the entire time.
And if you like horror movies, it's definitely cool to check out. It's interesting.
You've been
interesting.
On it. You've been on the show.
Yeah, me and Molly watched The Bird. The Birds.
Check out S&M Radio on FCFnetwork.com.
Yep,
Go there and check it out.
Best place in town.
All right, let's dig back into this crap fest here. Okay, so some weird occult thing happens where the dad gives this little girl this little pendant with a wolf on it that's supposed to have something to do with the occult. He says, "Here, put this under your shirt. Hide it under there."
Don't show it to anybody.
And all of a sudden,
she goes from 7 to 13.
Well, I'm hoping it's 13 to 18 because I was just about to comment how hot this girl's getting. And this may sound perverted, but she had to have been like hopefully 18. But she was getting hot. It's like getting older. And this woman who was running the place was getting younger.
Yeah.
There's some weird magic going on, which again never really explained.
No,
it's just
and it's like there's just one comment made about how she's what are you doing? You're looking younger,
right.
Overnight, like she looks 10 years younger.
And it's only those little comments, and yes, her physical appearance too. But unless those comments are said, we wouldn't really put it together that that's happening. And again, no real reason that's happening. And just to back up my point, this girl's getting hot. There was a point where her dress is like. Just right, like you can see her vagina.
Right. And I had written that down. It's like she has all of a sudden she's got go-go boots on,
right,
and this short skirt.
Absolutely. And so, what are we supposed to think, huh? As two red-blooded men in America, what are we supposed to think?
Right. There's every TV show has an A story and a B story.
Right.
So the A story here is this driver gets these visions and sees things,
yep,
and he's trying to figure those out. The B story is then. This mother and the daughter and the husband, Duncan,
and eventually, like a good Seinfeld episode, everything ties together.
Sure,
in the end.
Sure, but it takes a long time to get there.
It does feel like a very long time.
And not too far after she starts blossoming into a woman, they're snooping around, watching, Leonard Nimoy and Michelle.
Yeah,
Michelle, they were snooping around, watching people, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they kiss, there's no build up to it. There's no flirtation.
Very forced.
All of a sudden, he just and it's a forceful kiss, like in the movies back then. He's like, "I'm gonna kiss you."
Yeah, I think halfway through the movie, oh shit, we got to put in a love story somehow. Let's
right.
force it.
We need a C story for this.
That's right. And you know it's funny. It's because at the very beginning, the first thing you see is him driving this race car, and all of a sudden he's solving mysteries.
There's no other race schedule.
Right.
He doesn't have a race next week.
Leonard Nimoy is fully invested in solving this mystery.
Yeah.
There are no stakes for him whatsoever.
This hot chick comes over for 14 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's going anywhere in the country with her.
That's right. He's got.
He's not going to go to a doctor.
Nope.
He's not going to go see a therapist.
Nope.
Just gonna go
I bet he had a disc slip and he did nothing about it. It probably cost him his career. But I don't get it because, like at the end, kind of spoiler, it sets it up for him to go on more adventures.
Sure.
But who's paying him? He's not certified to do any of this stuff.
No.
You have to be certified to be like a detective. He gets nothing out of this unless he's just like, you know what? Maybe I'm set for life on this racing. I'll just hang out with this girl. But it's so bizarre. I feel like there's nothing at stake for him to do.
Not
any
at all.
of this.
He's like, hey, I might get laid, I might not.
So at one point he's following this girl because he kind of suspects everyone. He's like I said, he's fully invested in solving this mystery. So he's following this girl because she goes out of the hotel late at night, and then he like falls off this cliff, and it's like
into the ocean,
jagged rocks, ocean, no problem, dust it off.
Yeah, it was at least like 100 stories high.
100 stories.
It was like this.
He fell from the clouds.
It's funny because all the pictures like in the front of this manor.
Yeah,
it's like there's like it's like. There's trees and stuff,
right?
But then you look out the back window and it's just straight down, with a rickety old fence is going to keep.
That would have killed him instantly.
Their insurance premium would have been horrible
through the roof. There's a really cool car. I'm terrible at cars. I don't know what it is, but he's like the next scene. He's working on the car in the daylight outside, and it looks like all he's doing is hitting the wheel with a hammer.
And then he just closes it up.
Yeah, then he's like, "Oh, good to go."
Good to go. Not only do I race cars, but I've been working on them all my life.
Just a hammer. Apparently, is all you need. If you got wheel problems, get that hammer out, buddy. Hammer away. What else you got here? Anything good here?
Well, when they talk about stuff that doesn't really get explained, like they show this symbol of this wolf head, like you said, it's on the necklace.
Yep.
But they never go into what it's about or
Not
what
even
it means.
a little bit.
There's something to do something like a piece of paper, like a book or something that says something to do with a werewolf or something, but they don't explain it. They just whatever.
You're just supposed to accept it.
And then they even have a character that doesn't exist. I mean, that's how many characters. The John Parrish, he was the theater producer.
He was the red herring.
Yeah, and you didn't see him. He dies before you even meet him. In the story.
Okay, I gotcha. Yep. They have the chase scene right after that, and I tell you what happy, upbeat music was playing for such a dramatic chase scene, and almost causing one of the main characters' deaths.
And the chase scene was way too long. I had written that down. It was just like, we're going to go. We've got some extra time to film today. It's not raining here in England. But so half of the chase scene is sunny.
Yep.
Half the other chase scene, it's raining and gloomy outside.
Yep.
So it's like so it's this antique car that he hit with a hammer to make work.
Yeah.
And this early 70s child pedophile van.
Oh, I was just about to say that van is bitching. Maybe I won't say it if that's how it's going to be described. Doing some heavy off-roading. And boy, I tell you what, like I said, just really positive music.
Where can we put a funky bass line and
oh boy. And so we kind of touched on this, but one of my notes says something was happening where the daughter was getting older and Miss Faraday is getting younger, and never really explained. Don't really explain that at all. What else?
There was the old lady, or the old lady in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Supposedly she was like the father's aunt and stuff like that, and for somebody in a wheelchair who's by herself, she gets around. Like all of a sudden she's, I'm at the mansion, and it seems odd.
Well, honestly, as far as my notes are concerned, and probably our time constraints, we're just about to the end of the movie anyway. And you got some more notes you want to go through?
Like I said, I've got another hour and a half worth, but no. This is when it starts to get interesting.
Yeah.
But, once you get to the chase scene, that's when it starts to get really interesting.
They start saying, you know what, we got a limited amount of time left, just like this show.
And I don't want to give it stuff away.
Oh, you don't want to give stuff away? Okay. Well, go watch the show then and enjoy it. Just know that at the end it leaves it open.
Yeah.
It says,
well, and that was the thing when I was watching it. Like, I'm like, okay, there's 3 minutes left. This doesn't look. This is just a movie. There's no way for them to make this a series. And then right at the end,
5 seconds.
5 seconds of that makes sense of how they're going to do that. Kind of
that mystery resolves itself, and then boom, on to the next thing. Another vision, another place to go. They mentioned the occult several times here. I don't feel like that's something people talk about a lot today. Was that something that was prominent in the early 70s? Like, people were talking about the occult?
Well, I think
Charles
with
Manson.
yeah, I
and
think
Led Zeppelin was supposedly really into the black arts
yeah,
and stuff.
I think that it was a network television way of trying to dabble into it. Like,
it's a watered-down version of it.
Very watered down.
I mean, talking about the occult, you're talking about, sacrifices and virgins and blood.
Right.
But there's none of that in this.
This is just a necklace, and this old lady's going to get younger as this other girl gets smoking hot and quite attitudey, if you ask me.
Oh, she had a lot of latitude.
Latitude.
So it was kind of the network's way, you think, of just kind of watering it down. Trying to be edgy.
Right, because, what are people interested in, what are they watching on the news? There's probably the Manson stuff, and all that kind of occult stuff.
How can we reel people in?
But don't reel them in too far, because it'll be inappropriate.
That's really, I think, all I have without giving anything away.
Yeah, we don't want to give anything away.
Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about why the show didn't work here.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
And what turbulence the show had?
A lot. First of all, it was way too many people. There was way too many characters.
And the main character it had, you mentioned, was typecast, so that's maybe people saw him as Spock.
Right. And only 2/3 of them, not even, maybe 2 or 3 of them, would actually go into the series.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just like 3 people. I saw 3 people at the end of that show that would go into the series. So you had all these other people. I saw too many characters.
I feel like if you wanted a series, maybe that was just kind of their loophole, their kind of scapegoat to say, it was meant to be a standalone thing when they could have all these disposable characters, you know. But you're right. There was a lot of people that would probably not have made it to, not because they died or anything, but just because that their story had concluded.
Right.
And they probably wouldn't make it to the series if it ever became one.
Well, and I also put that they didn't explain the power of the werewolf necklace logo thing.
Never explained that.
And I'm not saying give me all the details, because obviously you have to have something to keep going with. But, hey, say, this is the symbol of this specific cult that's been around since blah, blah, blah. I mentioned earlier about Leonard Nimoy, typecast. And I think this... They had those last couple minutes, but I really think that you couldn't really go on. It's going to be the same problem every time.
Yeah, maybe so.
We're in Italy this time, not England.
Right, and that's where they're like. I think one of the last lines is like, hey, I can't remember her name. Was like, hey, Michelle. I think it was Michelle. We're going to Paris.
Yeah, we're going to Paris.
And she's like, okay, I got nothing to do.
Yeah. And he had told that little girl not too long ago that he had a race in Denver in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And he's like, but...
Fudge it. There's mysteries that need solving.
It was like a Leonard Nimoy version of Scooby-Doo.
It really was. And there was even a mask reveal at one point, like Scooby-Doo, too. So perfect. Boy, that was silly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The mask coming
That
off.
was odd. There's no... they didn't give any way of even hinting that this is an old lady. Nope. Old lady stands up. Next thing you know, rips this mask off that probably took 6 hours to put on.
Ugh. Yikes.
And then fights a man.
So what would we do to improve it? Do you have any ideas of if this show were to have survived?
I wouldn't have put Leonard Nimoy in it.
Okay.
I really wouldn't. Nothing against Leonard Nimoy. I would have put somebody a little bit
Shatner.
Somebody a little bit younger, like a Tom Selleck.
Oh man!
But he was 80s. But if you put him
younger,
a
young Tom Selleck. Oh man!
Oh, young Tom Selleck. And I wouldn't try to do so much.
There's a lot to juggle.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen a series arc where they were they really dig into the occult. And maybe it's a worldwide syndicate or a conspiracy.
Right.
And every week they're taking out another member or solving it, just
getting closer to the head honcho.
Right, yeah.
If you were trying to get into the KKK, you're taking out each level to get to the Red Dragon.
They don't. You know what? I'm a white guy. I have pretty pure blood, and they wouldn't take me still.
No,
it's because I had lain with an Asian. That's what that.
Lucky you.
Something else that I thought would be cool is if, over time where they are kind of chipping away at these different factions and working their way to the top of the occult, their status would rise and the stakes would rise for them, and people would be like, "Those are the two that took out Billy last week,"
right.
Or like their powers, like because he can see in the future, and he was kind of trying to
learning.
use this, they would develop their powers and expand on them,
Right. Well, that's like when they're in the bottom of that elevator,
Right.
and the door locks,
Yeah.
and she's like trying to teach him all these things to like unlock it with his mind,
Yeah.
and then the little Italian guy just ends up unlocking it.
Yeah,
That was their like, oh shit, people aren't going to believe that he's learned to do these powers. We've already got him locked in this thing. How do we get him out? Oh, the Italian guy sneaks in and
comes back down for some more wine.
Yeah, through the secret door.
Yeah, he's like, people will buy that he has visions of the future,
Right.
but they won't buy him unbolting a lock. Whatever. So I don't know. ABC, whoever made this, if you want to go back and take another stab at this, we'll give you some notes.
Get a hold of us. We have an email address, and we'll be happy to rewrite.
Oh, absolutely, we will. Any other notes you have on that, or should we head into our final descent?
I think we should head into Final Descent.
You got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
What we're going to do here is look at some reviews of the show. Believe it or not, people saw the show, and some of those people are still alive, and they had some things to say about it. And so did maybe a critic. So we're going to look at it. Some of these were pulled from Amazon. Some were pulled from IMDb. Richard C. Collinson, just last year, said, "It may be old and corny, but I enjoyed it." And that was enough for him to give it 5 out of 5. Not bad.
Way to go, 5 out of 5.
That's all it takes. Good for 3 out of 5. Hacked to Pieces. I love this movie, but not this version. This person saw it on Amazon Instant Video. So if you have Amazon, you can watch it on there too. Like I said, we saw it on YouTube.
Sure, we're cheap.
If you can see it somewhere else, that's fine. I had it on video that I took off the TV and watched it so many times I knew the dialogue by heart. Wow. Having not seen it for many years, haven't had a VCR for many years, on impulse I decided to buy it and watch it on my computer. So many scenes have been shortened that if I didn't know the dialogue, it would never be able to fully follow the story, which may be our problem. Maybe this thing was edited and hacked to bits to where things didn't make sense because whoever put it on YouTube got a version of it that was heavily edited.
Well, and then I saw the CD, the DVD came out in like 2010 or something like that, and they want like $56 for it.
I'll just go to YouTube instead, I think.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Critic review by Don L. Stradley.
Ooh, Don.
I hope to hear a lot more from Don.
Well, I think we're definitely going to hear more from Don.
Maybe we'll have him on the show. At its best, Baffled feels a bit like other 70s shows such as Night Gallery and The Sixth Sense. It even owes a bit to the Avengers. Now, obviously not the Avengers that we know of the comic book heroes, but the British spy show, The Avengers, minus the cheeky, swinging London vibe. At its worst, Baffled is a bit dry and takes too long to get from one point to the next. It was directed by Philip Leacock, a television veteran who specialized in one-hour shows like The Waltons. So, at times, Baffled feels like an hour show pad out to make a feature-length piece. One wonders if NBC opted out of the series because of the slowness of the movie rather than looking at Nimoy's potential. And I agree. I think you're right. You get pigeonholed as a certain character, it'll kill your career. It sure as hell killed Bob Denver. Was that his name? Bob? Who's the... John Denver was the singer. Bob Denver was Gilligan, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But I think I think Leonard Nimoy had potential.
No, not in this.
No? More
not as a spy guy.
Okay.
A race car spy.
That's right. Rotten Tomato score, no critic score on this one, but the audience scored it at a whopping 17%. So completely unfresh.
Yes.
That's about right, I think.
Yeah. I didn't hate it, but I did not enjoy it. Like I said, it was dry. Like there was only a little bit of action, and it was all at once.
Yeah, they really jammed in spots.
It wasn't a dun. It wasn't a good rhythm. It wasn't a dun 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 dun. Dun. It was a dun.
It was definitely slow at times, and I think if you look back at older movies, I think they're definitely paced differently. But it doesn't mean it always holds up. And with this case, it did not. As far as I'm concerned, Blake, I'm ready to land this plane.
Let's land it. Duncan is actually perished.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelts. seatbelt sign.
Ratings. We get to apply our own rating system here. We've ripped off the wonderful television show from the early to late 90s, Wings.
Yes.
And now we're going to use those characters from Wings as a rating system.
Why don't you explain it?
Okay. Brian Hackett. That's the best you can get.
Yeah.
That's the top tier.
A B hack.
A B hack is the best you're going to get. Description: carefree, irresponsible, and unreliable. You know, as a fan of the first few seasons of Wings, they nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly his character.
I love it.
Right under B hack is Helen Chappell, and then slash Hackett, 'cause she later marries Joe.
Yeah. She was beautiful.
I had a crush on her.
Oh, yeah.
You look back at her and I was like, what was going on with the hair?
It was just, oh.
It's like a lion's mane. It's like she belonged in a Warrant video. A petite blonde who, despite having lived on Nantucket for most of her life, speaks with a Texas drawl.
Yeah.
Go figure that out. You kind of set the rating scale. If I had my druthers about me, Lowell Mather would be at the top. I loved Lowell. Dim, good-hearted, eccentric mechanic. For me, anytime he was on, stole the scene.
To me, he was funny, but there was just too, like, if he would leave the scene about 3 minutes earlier, I would like him, but he just stays too long.
You just want a whisper of Lowell?
I want a whisper of Lowell.
Next on the docket, Joe Hackett. So J-Hack, I would say. Highly responsible, compulsive, neat pilot. That's it. Yeah. Sandpiper Air, that's his baby.
Yep. It's many a times on that series it was going to go under. Sandpiper was going to go under.
He got him. He dig him out every time.
Every time.
Number 3, under Joe, Antonio Scarpacci. A mild-mannered, differential, and hopelessly romantic. The
cab driver.
Cab driver. He'd always set the counter. He was the... oh, boy. I wish I wasn't as young as I am. Who sat at the counter at Cheers? Cliff?
Yeah. Cliff and Norm.
Norm, George Wendt, right?
Yeah.
He was the Cliff and Norm of Sandpiper Air. He would just hang out at that lunch counter all the time.
It's like, I don't need to make any money doing fares. When people...
Just give me a turkey club.
Just give me a turkey club, and I'll take somebody somewhere after they get off their airplane.
If I feel like it. Let me finish these fries real quick.
Yeah. It depends how it goes.
Antonio Scarpacci. Number 2, Faye Cochran, generally sweet and motherly, though slightly batty. Crazy old woman.
Crazy old woman.
Sandpiper, not the stewardess. What do you call her? Flight? What is that?
She was at the registration, at the gate, the registration desk.
Yes. And then, of course, bottom of the barrel, huge piece of shit. In every single episode, Roy, huge fat guy Biggins.
Yeah.
Generally competitive, arrogant, and unpleasant, and morbidly obese. You got to have a character like that. He's the fly in the ointment, the big, huge, fat, disgusting, greasy fly in the ointment.
He's a horrible person. He only cares about himself, and he doesn't care if he sees your face every single day. He will screw you over in
a heartbeat,
and will announce it and be proud of it.
Yeah, he'll put it over the loudspeaker over the PA right there, and he'll get you. What was the name of his? Do you remember the name of his?
I don't remember.
Oh, that's going to bother me. How would you rate it? Given that system right there.
I give it a big Biggins.
Oh, right at the bottom.
I give it a big
Biggins. Fat
Biggins.
I would go one up and say Faye Cochran, because I thought it was generally sweet and motherly, though slightly batty. Not very good. Like, I get it. I know why it didn't make the series.
Right.
So
I guess I'm setting a standard here for
That's
upcoming
fine.
episodes.
As well you should.
Is you have a tendency to look at the bright side. You're a half full kind of guy.
All right.
And I am this thing is so half empty.
That's why we work well together.
3/4. Oh, yeah.
It's because you score things 1 and I score them 2. So what's happening next time? When this is not it? We're not ending the show here, and that's the end of our show.
No, we got
forever.
picked up for a whole season.
Super duper. Next time, please join us on Couch Pilots as we watched, I think it was from 1978, again, a made-for-TV movie that was meant to make it to a series, Clone Master. Now, if that name didn't grab you by the gonads, wait till you hear this trailer, a little something to wet your whistle.
7:30.
Tonight on the NBC Movie of the Week, a chilling suspense movie like nothing you've ever seen. A biochemist succeeds in making perfect clones of himself. Clones that communicate by telepathy. But now, the mysterious group which paid for the project wants results at any price. Clone Master.
I cannot wait to talk about this. I love talking about this one.
I love that guy. Who is that guy that does all the voiceovers?
He's dead.
I hope not. He's totally dead. You're absolutely right. This is 35, no, coming on 40 years ago. I love those old voiceovers.
Oh yeah.
Subconsciously they're in you.
Oh yeah.
If you're sitting in front of the TV and they're talking about the next episode of Saved by the Bell or Get Along Gang or something, that is beamed into your head and seared forever.
I think they do like testing and stuff on people, and they know like what octaves and what speed of.
Oh sure.
There's a science to that. It's not just some guy that got lucked out and had a really good job.
And there's a science to Clone Master, and I think you're going to love it. And if you want to love it, if you want to watch it, go to YouTube. Just search Clone Master. And I think there's will be some Star Wars clone stuff that pops up, but like put in quotes or put like 1978 there, and it will all pop up. Unlike this made-for-TV movie, Baffled, Clone Master is all in one big chunk. You can watch the whole thing. Questionable quality.
But
usually what really bothers me is if the video and the audio does not sync up. Not the case here.
No,
everything is fluid.
There was like the first couple minutes of it. It does seem, for me, because I'm an audio guy.
Okay.
But then it works itself out.
Okay.
And we'll put the link to this one as well into the show notes for this episode.
Yep. So check it out. Click on the link or go there to go to YouTube yourself. Watch it. If you got an Apple TV or a Roku or whatever, beam it from your phone right to your television. Enjoy the large screen experience that is Clone Master. And if you have any show,
it's meant for the big screen.
It was meant to be watched.
It's meant for one of those TVs that's curved now.
That's right. It's a 3D curved technology television. Enjoy it. If you have a show that you want us to watch, if you have any suggestions or comments about the show, or if you want to, send us pictures of your boxers and not your underwear, but your dogs,
right? Yeah.
Please do so. You can do it at couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. We hope to hear from you very soon. Any parting words for our listeners?
Just always have a snack and a drink. Sit down on the couch, and watch these in their entirety.
I'm not sure I could have said it better myself. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on Couch Pilots.
See you later, guys and gals. Women watch TV, too. A lot of it.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.